In a couple minutes, I'll turn pantry sugar into coffee shop style brown sugar syrup, then whip it into a cloud of cold foam you can pour on anything. Ready to level up your iced coffee? Let's get started. Let's start off by making the brown sugar syrup. It's extremely quick and easy. We'll begin with 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, but you can also use dark brown sugar if that's all you have available. Try to make sure it's a 1/4 cup packed fairly tightly. Add your 1/4 cup of brown sugar to a small saucepan. Now we're ready for the second ingredient, a 1/4 cup of water. Try to use purified water if it's available. Go ahead and add it to the small saucepan as well. Then set your stovetop on medium heat. Next, continually stir the ingredients over medium heat until the brown sugar is dissolved. It should only take around 5 minutes for the sugar to dissolve. So after 5 minutes, it should look something like this. Now it's time to turn off the heat. Once the heat is turned off, let the saucepan cool for a few minutes. The next step is to carefully add to a different container. Mine was still pretty hot. Looks like I steamed up my camera lens. Guess what? We already completed the brown sugar syrup. This recipe makes around 7 to 8 tablespoons of brown sugar syrup. For the cold foam, we're only going to be using 1 tablespoon. Now that we finished the syrup, go ahead and set it in the fridge while we move on to the next steps. Alright, now it's time to make the cold foam. The first ingredient for the cold foam is a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Make sure that the cream has been kept very cold in the refrigerator. When you have your 1/4 cup of heavy cream ready, go ahead and add it to your mixing cup. I decided to show the shaken method, so I'm adding it to a cocktail shaker, or you could also use a mason jar with a lid. The simpler option is to use a handheld frother. They're cheap and available on Amazon. The next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of 2% milk. Once again, you'll want to make sure that this milk has been kept very cold. This will help ensure that everything mixes properly. Once you have your 2 tablespoons of 2% milk ready, go ahead and add it to your mixing cup. Okay, here's the first tablespoon, and here's the second tablespoon. Now we're ready for the next ingredient, and it's an old friend. It's time to grab the brown sugar syrup out of the fridge. It's had enough time to cool by this point. Grab a tablespoon of your syrup and add it to your mixing cup. This will give the cold foam that signature brown sugar flavor. Alright, now we only have one more ingredient remaining. And it's an easy one, ground cinnamon. And we only need a small amount, a dash. When you have it ready, go ahead and add it in with the other ingredients. Alright, now all the ingredients for the brown sugar cold foam have been added. If you have a handheld frother, go ahead and bring it out. For everyone else, make sure your lid is securely fastened and shake vigorously for around 1 minute. While you're shaking, it's a great time to entertain you with a quick goose fact. Geese actually have built-in GPS in their beaks. Specialized cells allow them to sense Earth's magnetic field. And you need to sense when we drop a new video, so subscribe and join our gaggle. As you can see, we're small but growing quickly. And now back to the recipe. Okay, after a minute, you're finished shaking. By the time the minute is up, your cocktail shaker or mason jar should be cold to the touch. Now your brown sugar cold foam is officially ready. Just remove the lid and carefully pour on top of your chosen drink. In this case, we're adding it on top of our brown sugar strato frappuccino. But it's a great addition to many different drinks, including the iced cinnamon Dolce latte, classic cold brew, and even pumpkin spice lattes, hot or iced. I'll include a list of some of the best ones in the video description. But if you have any great ideas, please add them to the comments section. But oftentimes, like this one, the color contrast is amazing. And you can even customize the cold foam for different recipes. In this case, we added a bit of brown sugar to the top. But ground cinnamon is another great option, especially for the cinnamon Dolce latte. When you're finished, don't forget about the extra brown sugar syrup. Place it in an airtight container and store it in the fridge, and it will stay fresh for up to 2 to 3 weeks. Alright, now that you've made this brown sugar cold foam, you need a fun recipe to include it on. Check out my brown sugar strato frappuccino recipe, and I'll see you there.